Hello, it's me again. I just wanted to tell you about two of the most scary experiences I ever had. And this is as close to being ill as I've ever been. Once, when I was in the kitchen, I was tidying out this drawer of curtain hooks. There seemed to be this drawer that had accumulated a load of curtain hooks. And I started picking them out of the drawer. And more of them started turning up. And it was the most frightening experience ever, because I once had this nightmare that everything I'd ever eaten or bought or drunk, I had to be buried under alive. And that once I tried to get rid of anything, in this nightmare it was impossible to ever get rid of anything. And everything that you ever had bought or chosen came tumbling back on you. And it was the most frightening experience I've ever had when these curtain hooks seemed to be turning up out of nowhere. And it really gave me the jitters. And it must have just been something to do with my eyes or my lack of concentration. Maybe my mind was wandering in between finding each curtain hook or whatever, but it was certainly very scary. And another experience that I had was counting jigsaw pieces at a British Heart Foundation shop. It may sound absolutely trivial, and that there were only I think it was one that there were only about 60 pieces, and it wasn't even a very big jigsaw, not like these 1,000 pieces ones or whatever, but every time I counted it was different. And not to be able to complete that simple task was so overwhelmingly catastrophic and soul destroying. And I couldn't work out whether pieces were turning up every time I was counting or whatever, but honestly, I've got a first class degree and an MA and I couldn't count to 60. Well, I could count to 60, but seriously, these pieces of jigsaw just seemed to be turning up or vanishing each time, and every time I counted it, I couldn't make the total remain the same, and I was convinced there were ghosts involved in the British Heart Foundation second-hand shop. I was convinced of it, and I was convinced that nearly everybody there was a medium as well. And the whole thing just got absolutely surreal. I'd been reading this book. One of the things that really influenced me badly was I'd been reading this book. It was by Hilary Mantel, the woman that wrote Wolf Hall, that's being televised at the moment, or just being televised. And I can't remember the title of it. It was called something like The Black and the Red or something. And it was all about this medium and clairvoyant who travelled around all these fairs, sort of giving readings and acting like a Doris Stokes character. But it was such a powerful read. It really was. I think I wrote a review of it. I was so knocked out by it and so frightened by it. It was one of the most frightening books I've ever read in my life. And I was convinced I was in a hive of such people at the British Heart Foundation. But that's the closest thing that I can say I've ever been to being ill. And it sounds of little consequence when you think of all the things that I could be talking about. I could be talking about hallucinations or imaginary ghosts or people talking about me or something like that. It wasn't that. It was these objects seeming to turn up and vanish. It was really scary. So I just thought I'd tell you that in case you ever have a similar experience. And, don't despair, because your faculties will come back if something like that happens. And I don't know what causes it, but it seriously is frightening. Seriously is. Okay, then, bye for now. Bye.